I think the whole word sustainability, there's greenwashing that happened in the past decade. Now it's, sustainability washing. Everybody's saying they're sustainable. What does it mean? It's a slippery slope. Everybody from Exxon all the way down to the local granola company is talking about sustainability. The consumer hears sustainability and they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of it, but now everybody's talking about it, so who do I believe? For us, it's always that balance of we need to have a profitable business model, we need to have a product that people can then believe in, and then you can always be doing it better. And sustainability is kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like writing a poem or something. It's like never done. You're always going to have to recraft it based upon what's going on at the times, what's going on in the business, what your business can do with its financial resources, what it can do with its human resources, and what it can do to make sure that the consumers that are purchasing the product understand the benefits of the practices that you're putting in. So it's a very difficult line, and it's always changing.
Sustainability to me means being able to create something that enhances people's experience in the world, do so while you're minimizing the impact of what you're doing, and finding a consistent way to think long-term, well into the future, so that when you're done, at the end of the day, you can look back and say, with pride, we created that and we left it for the next.
The biggest challenge that I see to sustainability, not just in agriculture, but in the marketplace today, and I think it affects all of us in the natural industry, is that there's sort of a turn and burn type of attitude that we're based on short-term outcomes. Where, and I love entrepreneurship, I love building new businesses, but when you think about it, it tends to be based on what can you do in 3 years and then sell it off. And there's a certain approach that you do when you're building something like that. My background, and I think the background in agriculture, is it's based on you're trying to build something to pass along to your kids, to your grandkids, to future generations. And when you think about that long-term view, yes, you have to be economically sustainable in the short term, but there's a frame of reference that you use in doing that just changes the way that you manage animals, you manage the land, you manage the relationship with your customers, because you want that long-term relationship.
When you peel back the onion of how we do things, the company has made amazing choices throughout the years that when you add it all up, I think it defines sustainability. My goal as the steward of this company is just to continue to allow for the people to make great choices, whether it's our employees or retailers around us or our community. And it's funny, I've never really thought about it as sustainability, but I think that it's really just a platform for doing good.
A few years ago, we actually commissioned a life cycle analysis on a 6-pack of fat tire. And we measured all the inputs up and down the supply chain. So everything from growing the grains to transportation to cold storage in the cold box. And we looked at that, and there is some fairly damning evidence of the carbon that it takes to make a 6-pack of fat tire. Turns out it's about the equivalent of cutting your grass for an hour and a half. So we wanted to make that information transparent because we wanted to show exactly what was going into and out of this process. And so we found that only 4% of that embodied carbon was here in the production at the facility, but that other 96% were not absolved of that because that's up and down the supply chain. So that shows us, where can we help some of our contractors and our vendors make changes in their process? How can we help them better some of their systems to overall minimize the impact? And it was eye-opening, and we published it. And I think that's a great thing too. If you can show that transparency to folks, that's a big step in the idea of debunking the myth here, I believe, of greenwashing.
Sustainability, I think, is a lot about relationships. I mean, it's when I think about agriculture and I think about these guys. Sustainability talks about understanding the complex relationships in nature, the relationships even in the marketplace. We always say in the buffalo business that you got to have environmental sustainability and you have to have economic sustainability, and they go together. And the thing that I think that is really encouraging right now is that as we're building this business, we're building it because the customers out there appreciate the fact that the ranchers are taking care of the land. They're taking care, they're really helping to restore these animals to the prairies and the pastures and the rangelands across the country. And it's that relationship that the ranchers have to the land and to the animals, but it's also the relationship that the customers then have to us when we're in the marketplace with the product.
We're very proud about a lot of the decisions we made regarding the planet. We do not put our bottles, recyclable glass bottles, that we don't put in boxes. Big downfall, we don't get to market as well. Giant upside for the planet. The point is that we're committed to doing it right, and we make little decisions all the time. However, when you talk about the biggest success, I think that I go back to the people part. The sustainability part, or that platform of doing good, doesn't happen without the people. So pouring into the people is where I get choked up and I get really excited about it. That's really my passion. And then those people go out and make the decisions every single day on how to build a great company.
The advice I have is, as we grow the whole natural food industry, is that we need to make sure that we don't compromise our core values. It's not about being big or being little, it's about being authentic, it's about being true to the basic principles of sustainability. What we do every day through our diet is tied into the way that food is produced and the land is treated, and the more that we try and build those relationships on trust and authenticity, I think we can continue to build this industry.
We talk about what's working here, and we also talk about how can we communicate outward, and what can we do, again, to work with our supply chain up and down, because there's a bottle industry that supports not just brewing, but also the soda beverage, soft drink and beverage industry, and all these other industries are using a lot of the same types of technology. How do we all work together with our vendors and our contractors to make sure that everybody has the same information to do things in the most environmentally friendly fashion? And so I think having these dialogues amongst somewhat disparate groups of folks, large corporations, small, multinational, beer, soft drink, I think that's really a tremendous benefit to all.